Hello everybody, today we are at Threlkeld, Quarry and Mining Museum, and boy have we got a lot installed for you today. We're going to be meeting all the volunteers and workers who are restoring all of these machines and actually going to be seeing them inside action as well. From a 78-ton digger to an Austin K2, we're going to be seeing it all, so let's meet all the team and see all the machines.
I'm Dick and Chaplain Bryce. I'm the assistant engineer here at Threlkeld Quarry and Mining Museum. I've been on the staff, well, I've been involved here now for 16 years, been on the staff for the last 12, so most of my time is spent driving trains or mainly railway stuff until they ask us to get involved with the big grey steam things, so that's me.
I'm Paul and I look after a 38 RB as a volunteer.
I'm Dave. I'm a volunteer up here at the museum. I do have my own machine, which I spent 15 years overhauling in France, but I've now become involved in the steam excavator. I'm actually Derek's apprentice.
Say when? Okay. Hi, I'm Derek Welch.
This was his moment. You've just wrecked his moment. Sorry about that, Derek. Try and get him to behave.
Back to the start.
Action. Right, go on, Derek.
I'm Derek Welch. I've been involved with this steam shovel right from its journey up from the Ruston Museum in Lincolnshire.
Jack Baxter, volunteer at the quarry here, have done for several years now.
I'm Richard and I basically volunteer up here. I own a few of my own machines as well as look after a lot of the trust machines. It's a beautiful place, Threlkeld Mining Museum.
Ian Hartland. I'm the, what shall we say? I'm the boss.
Right.
Managing director of the museum and chairman of the Vintage Excavator Trust. All that really means is I get to do all the dirty jobs, tidy up, make the tea. But,
So now Richard is going to tell us and show us all about his diggers and see the mighty machines. And thank you to Kenny Haskell, who has done the picture of the digger in the deep.
Right, this is basically Behooly steam navvy. We dug it out of a lagoon in Bedfordshire. Divers took it a bit underwater. It's spent its time, it went to the Museum of Life in Lincoln for 30 years. We've just spent 4 years putting it together. And it's now in operational, ready to go condition.
How deep underwater was it?
It was 18 foot underwater. And
How did they get it out of the water?
They actually dragged it up, well they floated it with balloons, and then there was a crane actually pulled it out of the water, the winch did, well there was a winch actually took the jib down, and then there was a crane that actually lifted it. They actually broke the crane while they were trying to lift it out because you only had a chain snap. And they said, oh no, because it was a brand new cold crane. They said, no, there was no damage to it. But there was apparently. It was brand new in the country on the day. Really interesting video to watch is that early digger from the deep. As I say, it uses about 800 gallon of water a day. And a lot of coal. It takes 3 people to operate this. There's one that stands right on the front. He basically he works the muck pole up and down the rack. There's a guy sits behind the levers, and then of course we've got to have a fireman as well. So you've got like three operators, and we've got 3 lads up there. Jack's probably the best one to task.
Having his dinner.
Jack's our main driver. We've got Derek who actually built the thing. So Derek's he's like a Boilermaker, so he actually done most of the rebuild. And he's the brains behind this machine.
What's that?
What pressure does it work at?
£80.
80 pound.
Yeah, very low pressure really.
Yeah. Hot water.
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't.
Very big log in the way there now.
So Polish or Kazakhstan coal.
Yeah.
Here it
but
We'll go back to see the digger from the deep, the Hooley, start up. But in the meantime, let's go see 78 tonnes of Richard's machine, the 54 RV.
She's a 54 RB. This is probably the most difficult thing to get on and off.
The most easiest or hardest, would you say?
The hardest. But what I'm saying is, we actually disassembled this. That section there, that whole section there was, we offloaded it with that. It's basically, that's a 25 super crane, which can lift 25 tonnes straight up. And this is like 3/4 of its weight, if you know what I mean. That there is about 12 tonne in that.
So what tonnage can this one lift?
This one, it's a 2.5 cubic yard, so it's about 5 tonne in every bucket full. And basically, it's a air start.
That's like 5 cars.
Aye, easy, yeah. It's yeah. I mean, you look at the size of the bucket. You know, it's a good 2.5 cubic yards to 3 cubic yards. That I think. Really,
It's like got loads of weight in it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
the engine in this actually runs it flat out. It's 650 RPM. Your car idles at about 800. So this engine, it sounds really beautiful when it does fire up. But it's one of those machines that a little bit of a soft spot for, because with such a soft spot, we actually built another one. This one's got a Ruston 5-cylinder engine in it. It's
Oh, it looks like that one's getting going.
Oh, aye. It has a little a compressor in, as we'll see in a minute when we go inside, to build the air up. We'll build the air up to 300 psi, and then all we do is just open a valve, and away it goes. It just fires the big engine into life. Like I said, it's 7.5 tonne in the big engine, so definitely worth a look inside if you just want to try this this ladder technique. The best way to do it is climb up the ladder, get on as much as you can, and just keep walking to the very end. I'll demonstrate it, and then you can see what you think. Yeah? Okay. Because we don't want any accidents. I tend to climb all of that, and then we're onto the walk.
Come on.
Then we'll go out to the back. I'll open the door so that it's
Do you want me to start coming up?
yeah. Hey. Welcome to my 54 RB. Basically, it's 78 tonnes of machine that we transported from Seamer. You've got a 5-cylinder Ruston engine weighing roughly 7.5 tonnes, which is started by a little compressor. We build our pressure up to 300 psi, then we let the engine have a whiff of it, away it goes. Basically, it's in full working order now. It's a lovely thing to drive, and yeah, it's well worth seeing working.
This is?
Yes. 7.5 tonnes.
You wouldn't expect this was just, cooked inside, would you?
That's unbelievable. The size of it, look at the size of the block.
Yeah.
And what does that say? Ruston, England.
Ruston's England, yeah.
When they knew how to build things, eh?
Oh, they did. See, originally, you see the 5 holes in the roof?
Yeah.
This wouldn't have even had a silencer on it. It would have just had pipes going straight through the roof.
Yeah.
And when they're on song, you could actually see flames coming out of them, and they really had a nice, attractive engine to watch working. I mean, look at the size of the flywheel on that.
Look at that.
And they expected you actually putting.
That's unbelievable.
They expected you putting a bar in them holes to. I don't want anybody in. So basically, that's just a big chain casing that drives all the rest of that machinery in there. What you're seeing there is there's 2 drums. One is a hoist drum, which is the front one, and then you've got a drum on the back which drives a big chain. And what that chain does is it drives the crowd, the muck pole up and down its sleeve. So basically, all these machines work on 2 drums. two rope system. So what you've got is you've got the main engine, which is fired up by this little bearing. This is also a rust engine, but what it is, it's a two-cylinder engine. One cylinder is actually a compressor. You've got an engine and a compressor, so it's basically just a two-cylinder engine modified so that one side of it produces compressed air in order to start the big machine. So we charge this one up to 300 psi on the gauge, and then once we've achieved 300 psi, we can prime the oil pump so that there's oil.
So I take it that starts with petrol?
This starts with petrol, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's diesel.
Is it diesel?
No, it is. It's a one-cylinder diesel.
Diesel.
So we've got a diesel engine starting
Yeah.
another diesel engine. So, but by compressed air, it's instead of using an electric starter motor, you can't. There isn't
Is
one
that
big
so?
enough.
That's because a starter motor would be so much to crank that going.
Yeah, we just plus I think at the time they wouldn't have had the technology to make some
Right.
for that. There was a lot of air start engines in the Ruston scene. There's some smaller ones in the 19 RBs, and they have a little single cylinder petrol engine that produces the air to start them. But basically, it just loads one cylinder up with air, and it just fires it over in no time at all. So basically, they're a really nice old setup, but obviously, one charge of air, they reckon, would last a week. You know, if you got a good engine that started often every morning, so they do like a 12-hour shift, some of these machines. So if you're doing like 5 12-hour shifts in a week, you know, you do it through one crank up of that. So we rescued this one from SEMA. Jeff died, and we were invited to go and like buy the stuff, so we went and bought this. Took 3 wagons to transport it.
I was just going to say, how do you get it back?
And, well, we had to build a crane to dismantle it to start it. Luckily, he had a lot of cranes about.
So we just built a crane.
Took all the other cranes and put them all together and made another crane.
How do you make a crane? You build a crane.
We did that. That's actually true. I've got photos which we'll put in. And of the actual build of the crane. And the people, his daughter and his son, they actually were absolutely mesmerised at the fact that, see, Jeff would, and he has done a brilliant job he used to sandblast everything and paint it and make it look beautiful. But the problem was, he never drove them, so his children never seen, all the time they grew up with him, they'd never seen one actually work. And when we built this crane up, and we started lifting things off and putting things down and loading wagons. Oh, that's what they're for. It's nice to see them actually doing something, like moving. So it was an interesting event for all concerned, because we were pleased to get all of this. And they were chuffed to see, you know, some of their machines, well, one of their machines restored back to normality then, and actually working. So
it's amazing that you've saved it. Well done,
78 ton, we think, in this, and yeah, you know you're doing it when you're driving it. So it's a lovely old thing to operate. It's not as complicated as this, but it's got the same amount of levers.
Well, they didn't spend as much time on the seat as the engine, did they?
No, but they say you get a lovely view of what the driver would see. That's a chain I was on about. It was driven off one of the main drive.
It's like a house window, is that?
Yeah, I know.
Like, you know, conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can imagine. I mean, them windows swing open as well. So you know, they would drive them mainly with them windows open.
Wow.
So basically,
She's a beast, didn't she?
You got a hoist drum. These here basically steer the machine and drive the tracks. So there's a lever. If you push the lever in one position, it basically drives the tracks with these. And if you put the lever in another position, the same lever that you use on the front would slow the machine in between from side to side. So, yeah, with the hefty unit as well.
It's amazing, just and getting this to balance and everything, you know, putting it all together and getting it all to work.
Thinking that you can manage to make it all work, put it all together, and thinking that, right, this needs to be this size, that needs to be here.
We had that section of roof out because this had to come out. We couldn't transport it with that in.
right, so you've had to take that out.
But they take all that out,
Yeah.
and it was all
So
the
just
put back.
even the transportation is a job in itself, isn't it?
It was-
Remarkable that you managed it.
Yeah, it was. We done it. I think it was about 5 trips over there to actually dismantle it and get it running again because it was stood a while. But once we got it running, the main problem with getting it running was the little donkey engine,
Yeah.
because we had to take the barrel out and horn that. We had the piston rings were stuck on the piston, so we had to make them good. Ground the valves in, rebuilt it. Well, we actually put another injector pump on it.
Yeah.
And then 2 of us got together and cranked it over. We actually got it running. Without that, this thing wouldn't have started. But remarkably, once that engine had started, and we primed this one with oil, this engine fired up absolutely first time.
And what were your feelings like when it first started?
Well, it's a bit of relief, to be honest. I mean, you've got you've got a wagon booked for the day after, and you're thinking, well, come on, it's now or never. It's got to work now. But we actually disassembled this thing without that running. So we actually just basically with the other crane, we lifted the weight off the bucket, disconnected that rope, and vice versa with the hoist rope, and we lowered it to the ground, unpinned it, and then we had a Lawson's wagon ordered. He landed with a flatbed. And he says, I've only got 5 chains. I said, well, them 5 chains have better be used rather well. I said, you're all right for your tonnage because it's only 12 ton. He said, yeah, but look at the bloody size of it. I mean, when you see the photograph of this actually being loaded onto the wagon, all you can see is the guy's head underneath the load going, oh, is that going to fit? He's worried about me dropping it.
Yeah.
But we managed to get it on. And then when we got it here, the 25 super crane, was used, so we're using 2 different types of cranes, so we didn't know whether that thing would lift it. So I just got the jib up as far as I could in the air, got him underneath me, put some chains on it, and I lifted it about 2 inches off the wagon, and I told him to drive off. So he drove off, and I just had this thing sitting there, so I had to put it down on the ground once he'd left.
Yeah.
So that's, all right, it's one way. My dad was a crane driver for years.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting one for you later. It's basically one he drove in Blitz in London.
Right.
But this, so basically we got this, Paul Thorpe, very nicely came, he had shifted the other one for us.
Yeah.
The other 54, so basically he knew exactly what he was doing. So he put some sleepers down beside his wagon for our tracks to run up on to give us a bit of extra height. We then packed it up with sleepers and metal blocks to his trailer. He then attached his lorry, and then all he done was jack his hair up, and the whole track system came off the ground. So we put chains around the tracks to keep them off the road when he was travelling. He strapped it down, and there was 1 inch, and there really was 1 inch either side of these 2 buildings for him to get out of this yard. But we knew it had gone in, so he knew he could get it out. So I didn't actually have any film of it coming out.
Wow.
But he landed here with it anyhow, so we got that off, and reassembled it, put new ropes on it, and now it digs as good as any new one.
Oh,
So
well done all.
well
And is
with
that the radiator there?
That is the radiator,
That's
yeah.
some radiator, isn't it?
It did have a leak when we first got it, but we've managed to get some solder in them on it. And
So that must be the water pump.
yeah, that's a water pump for it. Because everything has a pump. So you get your water pump, you've got an oil pump round the other side. There's even a diesel pump there. That's an accumulator for diesel.
Yeah.
So basically, the injectors are like that on this. They're primed all the time. I don't know if I can show you an injector. I think they're out to the other side. But nice big engine, nice big outfit, all running nicely.
It's amazing.
So join us next week as we see more restoration of the Austin K2, find out more history of the digger from the deep, and meet more of the team. And see the 109-year-old digger in action, and boy is it a beast. So see you next week for episode 2 of the Old Girls in Actions at Threlkeld, Quarry and Minding Museum.